The Tantras talk about this resonance which permeates the whole of reality. Very much in the same way, you know, that the microwave background energy of the Big Bang permeates the whole of the universe. This resonance interacting with itself with no external cause or condition has given rise to, you know, a multiplicity of forms of life, some of which are physiological like us, everything lives on the earth, but many forms of which are not at all like us. But all these forms of life have in common that they are energetic structures. And each of us, according to the Tantras, is an energetic structure, condensed from many different frequencies of energy interacting with one another. We are a complex and sophisticated expression of creative energy. And that energy, well, the earliest representation of that energy, interestingly, comes in the Yajurveda, and I mean, it's sort of drawings that were made probably in the 2nd or 3rd century, which are included in the Yajurveda, which represent a human being as a tree. And interestingly, a tree that's upside down and has its roots in the air. And that is an attempt to express the fact that we are condensed energy which has structured itself in the same way that, you know, a tree is condensed energy and has in its core not just fluid moving, but also energy moving within the fluid. In a human being, this fundamental resonance manifests itself as what I call an energetic mechanism. Now, most of you are familiar, and the example I like to use is Chinese medicine, because in fact, Chinese medicine uses acupuncture. And acupuncture, the system of treatment, is based on an understanding of the energetic mechanism of energy channels that are present in our body, which have, and really upon which our physiological function is based. You know, a good acupuncturist with one needle in one point can slow your heart rate down profoundly, and even cause you to go into a state of complete quiescence, almost sleep. And all of these various, this whole accumulation of points represent junction meeting places of the energetic channels, and those energy channels each have a different resonance. Affecting one affects the whole. The Tantras would say that there's 72,000 nerves in the body. 72,000 energy channels make up a human body. And those energy channels, where they come together, are called chakras. There are thousands of chakras in the body. Acupuncture is based on, uses those acupuncture points, or in the Tantras, those minor chakras in combination to have an impact on your physiological function. The fundamental movement of the energy within those channels happens rhythmically. And that movement is the ultimate creative energy, the energy which has created the whole universe, which moves in each of us and fluctuates 12 times a minute, every minute. And that fluctuation is called, in its absolute sense, is called spanda, and in its personal sense is called kundalini. Kundalini is the creative energy of life itself. It is the power of life that animates your nervous system and your senses and your physiology. Everything you are, everything you feel, everything you think is kundalini. And in most people, the function of that ultimate creative energy is suppressed. The full function of that creative energy is suppressed. And it is suppressed by, the technical term is various malas, various curtains that are very dense. What I call, like karma mala is one of the malas. What I call karma, I have a different term for it. I call it the disappointment of our ancestors. That kundalini energy is suppressed by the tensions and by the heartache and all of the reactions to all the difficult experiences that our ancestors have had, passed through to us from our mother in her womb and our father in his relationship with our mother, and they got that from their parents, who got it from their parents, who got it from their parents, all the way from the beginning of time. And that accumulated tension, which we absorb as infants and then walk out into the world with as our perspective, is really functions, how it really impacts us is those tensions suppress the movement of the energy in the channels. And so the tantric tradition speaks to, the resolution of the human condition, the limited human condition, and the awakening of, an entirely new dimension of life experience for each of us, which is profound and sweet and rich and beautiful. They deal with that, speak to that by talking about the awakening of Kundalini, and in the awakening of Kundalini, the dissolving of all the tensions within us, which allow for the full functioning of every channel in this body. And out of that full functioning, a realization of, the tree upside down, the roots in the sky, the realization that each of us is totally interconnected with the whole of the universe, and ultimately nourished not by, worldly food or worldly experience at all, but nourished by our awareness of that Kundalini, which is the breath of life itself, breathing life into each of us moment by moment. The energetic mechanism is vast and sophisticated, but basically what when we begin to address this energetic mechanism, we address it, we're only going to be concerned about 3 channels, and they're the 3 main channels, the spinal column Actually, there's a circuit that comes down the front. The energy moves down the front and up through the spinal column to the top of the head. And on either side, there are two nerves which crisscross back and forth, and the solar and lunar nerves. And the lunar nerve takes in experience, the experience of the world, and structures it in us. And the solar nerve, the solar channel, is about whatever is inside us coming out. And so there is this dynamic, energetic system which, you know, as it crosses back and forth, you know, establishes, well, traditionally, the Buddhists talk about five main chakras. The Shaivas typically use 7 chakras. I mean, basically, there are 36 chakras in the main line, and I'm only concerned with 8 of them. These chakras, all of them together, exist in 4 components. There are 4 groups of them. The 4 groups are from your tailbone to your solar plexus, from your solar plexus to your throat, from your throat to the top of your head, and from the top of your head out 12 inches. And this is the magnetic field which the circulation, you know, of your this is the magnetic field which is the 3-phase respiratory mechanism that every human being is, irrespective of what they believe. It doesn't matter if you're a Buddhist or a Hindu or a Christian or a Muslim or a Jew or whatever. Every single human being is this energetic mechanism and this circulation of energy. And attending to that circulation of energy, we release tensions and allow our creative energy to flow. And so, in managing the mind, which is a topic that has come forward from yoga, we manage the mind by paying attention to the chakras, and with our focus and our intention, releasing the tensions in, there are 3 main chakras to do this in. One is in your belly button, or 2 fingers below your belly button. The second is in the middle of your chest, and we call it our heart. Because when we feel happy, and when we feel sad, and when we experience beauty, and when we experience horror, we don't experience it over here in our pump. We experience it right in the middle of our chest. That energy center is the most powerful magnetic center in our body. There's another very powerful energy center in the middle of our forehead, but at the top of our palate, on the level between our eyebrows, at the top of our palate. And still another one, the roots that ground us in the cosmos, from the top of our head out. By paying attention to those energy centers, we, first of all, become fully present in our physical bodies from this lowest group of chakras. We become fully present in our physical bodies. This dissolves the physical pathologies and the physical traumas that we have accumulated, actually that were brought forward upon us, and that we have accumulated in this life. It also dissolves anger and fear. In our hearts, you know, paying attention to our heart, making contact with our heart every day, and dissolving the tensions in our chest, bring us fully into contact with our emotions and the dynamics of our own inner state. And releasing those tensions allows the natural sweetness that is present in each of us from, the time when we were first born and before. That natural sweetness that is every single infant that has ever entered into the world, allows us to experience that sweetness again and begin to, from within ourselves, dissolve every kind of sadness and grief, every kind of doubt about ourselves, and come to a place where we begin to live our life in contact with that sweetness and that fineness and that beauty. And living our life from that totally transforms our whole experience naturally and in a completely uncontrived way, allowing us to accept ourselves and be who we really are. And the third most important center that we deal with in managing our mind is all of the energy, the complex energetic mechanism in our head. By simply being aware of our breath and having previously opened those two other centers, all the other centers will naturally come along, and we will begin to have the experience of a mind which has become still.